team, welcome back to Doing It at Home. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Matthew.
In today's video, we are doing part 2 of our semen analysis. Welcome back to Doing It at Home, your place for empowering home birth content.
Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you do not miss any of the videos that we put out on this channel. And also check out the links below for all the cool ways to connect with us, engage, and check out all the other things that we've got going on.
If you listen to the Doing It at Home podcast, or if you've been around the community for a minute, then you know that we've been sharing our Open to Conceive journey for a while now. And in part 1 of this experience, we talked about our decision to do the semen analysis, how we felt about it. And so if you haven't seen that video, check out the links below to watch the first part, because where we left off, we were on our way to drop off the sample.
We are heading to drop off the specimen.
Precious cargo.
We got precious cargo
on board.
Where is it?
It's in the car seat. I put it there.
In the car seat. I gotta say that making the deposit in the cup was not as easy as I thought it would be.
It's a small cup. It's a small, yeah.
I was afraid to like spill it and waste it.
Yeah, I get it.
So anyway, we are off to drop it off. Peace. So after we got to the clinic, we walked inside, and I don't know about you, but I didn't even really think about the COVID protocols they could have in place, because once we got in there, we were told immediately that one of us had to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was interesting because you had set up the appointment.
I know.
It was through your OB, and so something within me was like, okay, well then I'll leave. But
yeah, and it's like, do we flip a coin? Like, who's supposed to sit there with the sample in the office?
But like right after I left, I thought, wait a minute, why am I not? It's my own sample. What am I doing? So I ended up walking out of the clinic and literally just stood in the doorway. I mean, it was
probably could have still
20
seen you.
feet away. I was just standing in the doorway, just waiting, while Sarah went through the whole check-in process.
Yeah, and it was a mix of men and women in the waiting room, because I guess you have to figure people with different lives and schedules and things, like maybe the woman drops it off, maybe the man drops it off. So just to give some context as to how experienced we are in doing something like this, I had the cup in my purse, just the cup by itself in my purse. And so when we first walked up to the counter before you had to leave, I was ready to just drop that thing on the counter and be like, here you go.
High five them and then leave.
I was told it was just purely drop off. So I'm thinking, like, is it like Blockbuster where you drop off your videos? Like, is it like that kind of thing? So I was literally about to put it on the counter.
Like a Dropbox? Like a
like the library. So I'm reaching to pull it out of my purse when she says, oh, fill out this form and, we'll get you checked in. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. So I put it back in my purse, and then you leave, and then I'm sitting there, and I didn't have to sit there for very long, but
it was like 5-10 minutes.
I did notice a couple of men come in, and one of them had like the small brown paper bag, like the small brown lunch bag. And I was like, that guy was smart. Why didn't we have a brown paper bag? Because I'm just sitting there. Like,
everyone knew what was in the bag.
Of course, but it was just funny, you get somewhere, and when you feel maybe like a little unprepared or a little awkward, and you see someone who has all their stuff together, you just think, oh, dang.
I think we were eco-friendly. We didn't want to waste the bag.
Sure.
Everybody knew what we're there for. We got to drop off our samples.
Let's go with that.
Well, at least we put it in a cup and not a Ziploc bag or something.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Well, they probably can't take it if it's like, that's definitely not a sterile container.
Someone's done that.
Someone's come in with a Ziploc of semen. Anyway, so someone comes through the door and says, oh, Matthew Bivens. And I said, representative of Matthew Bivens.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. I think I said Team Bivens. And we didn't even go into a room. We just stood in the hallway and gave her the goods. And she asked me a couple of quick questions, like how long had it been since it was put in the cup, and how long had it been since you had an ejaculation. And that was all she needed to know. And bing, bang, boom, we were complete.
Yeah, it was like a 10-minute experience.
Overall, yeah.
And again, I think that, because we're in post-COVID times, that the protocols were a little bit different, but in general, I would imagine that it's kind of like that wherever you go. You show up, fill out your paperwork, drop it off, whether or not it's in a paper bag or not, and then that's it. So after that, we waited.
Waited.
For how long?
Just a couple of days. It just took a couple of days actually to get the results back. And then the doctor called me and gave me our results.
Yeah.
Which before we do that, there were some learning lessons in this for us, some more education. Just like in every new thing I feel like we embark on in the birth world, I had no idea really what a semen analysis tested for other than, do you have any?
I mean, I just
Did you know?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I mean, I assumed that they were testing for the number
Makes sense.
and how well they swam. Like,
There you go.
you know, you got 1 million sperms, but none of them are swimming. Or you've got 4 and they're all Michael Phelps in there, or whatever. I just thought it was number and the strength of the swim.
Yeah, that makes sense. So for any of you out there who are thinking about doing one, or maybe just did one recently and this could not have been timed better for you and you're not exactly sure, let's put our learning caps on because we're about to learn and understand what a semen analysis tests for and how to read yours and understand it. Okay, so we're gonna be learning some things in real time, and also we are totally not medical professionals, so this is not an official anything for you. This is just us in real time learning how to read a semen analysis. Just putting that out there for you.
Yeah, so this is basically like what we did. We received actually a picture of the results.
Yeah.
Like a text message picture of the results, and then we saw all the different things that were tested. Again, we were thinking it was like 1 or 2 things, but it was more like, what, 6, 7, 8?
There's a lot of components.
There's a lot.
They could be different. I also then looked up some articles on what do semen analyses test for, and some have different factors that, you know, ours included that they didn't, and vice versa. So it could vary, I'm guessing, depending on your practice and where you're getting the test from.
And so before we talked with our doctor, we just Googled. We were like, all right, so what does this mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
And we're going to read to you some of the things that we learned from that research.
So you weren't far off. Volume is one of the biggest things that a semen analysis tests for. So volume equals how much of it.
Yeah.
How much is in the actual sample. And an average of 2.5 milliliters actually is the average volume of an ejaculation. Did you know that?
Oh, I had no idea.
2 to 5 milliliters.
See, I needed it in terms of like tablespoons.
The official measurement of semen, tablespoon.
Well, because I can visualize a tablespoon.
I know. Well, I can visualize milliliters because that's, you know, what little...
Oh, the medicine cup?
Yeah, like a medicine little thing for...
Let's see, we're, you know, in the West, we never learned that very well. Okay. We learned it, but just not very well. I get tablespoon. Anyway, 2.5 milliliters, right?
2 to 5.
Oh,
2 to 5.
So it ranges between 2 and 5 milliliters.
Yes, is average. Yep. Okay. Then concentration. So concentration is how much sperm is actually present in the sample.
Okay.
Because the sample is, you know, there's the volume of it, but then how much of it is concentrated sperm.
So that was something that I expected them to test.
And the average is about 15 million per milliliter.
Oh, okay.
15 million sperm per milliliter of the sample.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. Sperm in the semen. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, motility. How are they moving? Are they moving fast and forward? That's apparently good sperm movement, is fast and forward momentum, forward movement towards those eggs.
That makes sense.
Yes, and good motility average is about over 40%. So that's motility.
I'm still...
Good motility.
I'm like, what does that mean? Over 40%. But I guess I can do some additional research.
Next is pH, so how acidic or alkaline, because depending on, this is like anything in your body too, how acidic or alkaline it is can be determining factors of your overall health. So if sperm is too acidic, not so great. If it's super alkaline, not so great either. Okay. And then the average, yes, there is a range between 7.2 and 7.4 is on average. So in general, sperm is usually more on the alkaline side. Because vaginas are very acidic, by the way.
Oh, so they need to be able to mingle together.
Yeah, they need to be able to live in there because it's a harsh environment in there sometimes.
Vagina's a harsh environment.
It can be. Viscosity. How thick is it? Because if it's super thick, this makes sense. It would be slower to move and harder to get to the eggs, kind of like the blob.
The blob.
Dun, dun, dun. So you want a nice range of that viscosity. You don't want it too thick And I would imagine too, you don't want it too thin, but that could be a clarifying point of information there.
I wonder if a doctor were to compare it to food.
Yeah.
They would say, like Jell-O pudding, too thick.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Honey, just right, or something like that. I'd be curious.
Hashtag Jell-O jizz. Sorry. Okay. Mature, Sarah, mature. And morphology. So that's the last point and component we have here. Again, this may not be the be all end all of all of the things that a semen analysis tests for, but these were the main hitters in ours. And so morphology is the shape and size. It would also make sense that if your sperm is not the ideal shape and size, it won't be able to move the way that you want it to get where you want it to get. So
cool.
Morphology, shape, and size. So those are all of the things that you can expect to get from a semen analysis.
So I know I learned a lot when we first received those results, because again, I was thinking it was going to be, how many and how are they swimming, but there's a whole host of other things that the analysis looks at, which is pretty cool.
Knowledge.
After we received the results via the text message, and Sarah and I went and did our sleuthing, our research, our doctor actually called us and she kind of went through everything with us. And she said that the results were awesome.
Outstanding, yeah. Excellent, she said, in fact. And that it ruled out any and every potential issue. I don't really like that word, but for all intents and purposes, anything that could be going on the sperm side of things, we could rule any and all of those out.
Obviously, I loved hearing that. That was great news to receive. And, when I think back on it, I feel like I was very curious about what the results were going to be, rather than nervous, Mm-hmm. I just wanted to know because I'd never had anything like this done. I'd never had a semen analysis, and this was all brand new. So I was curious about what I was going to learn from my body, and also, what would I do then with those results?
Yeah.
Right. If the numbers weren't outstanding and weren't where we wanted them to be, and then there was things that I could do to impact them, I was curious about how it would shift up my lifestyle, maybe my eating or, stress levels or whatever goes into that overall sperm strength. But the numbers were great. Mm-hmm. So we liked hearing that news, and yeah.
So what does that mean going forward for us? Well, it means continuing to practice faith, trust, surrender, and patience.
Yes.
And that all is well, and it's not in our control and in our time, but there are other things that play here. So to continue on with that and love each other through it, love ourselves, and be grateful for the family that we have, and hold the space, continue to create space for what we're intending and what we desire in our family.
Yeah, because it's interesting, like if we had gotten results that said, your swimmers are low, mm-hmm. low sperm count, and that's the reason why you all haven't been able to get pregnant, I think there definitely would be a part of me that would feel some sort of relief that we understood why.
Like an answer.
Yeah. Or, it was like, yeah, you got a lot of them, but they keep swimming in circles. So we got to straighten them out. Like, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so while getting that news was great, like, okay, your sperm are super healthy, it does leave us in the space of like, okay, well, we'll scratch that off the list. And, what else could be contributing to why we aren't getting pregnant right now. And mm-hmm. like you mentioned, like you just said, it puts us back in that space of just really needing to be faithful, mm-hmm. and trusting the process and surrendering the things we can't control, and really believing that our intentions have been put out there.
Yeah. And
God and the universe and source knows what we are desiring in a second child, and now it's no longer up to us. So on the one hand, the news feels great. On the other hand, it's like, okay, I kind of wanted an answer.
Yeah.
But we'll keep it moving. We'll keep rolling because, we're totally in it. We're in it 100%.
So we hope you learned something, got something out of this video, because it's certainly been a learning and growing process for us. So, of course, we wanted to share it with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you've had a semen analysis yourself, if you've had that experience, you and your partner, or if you have questions or comments or anything, please just drop them below, and we would love to just engage with you on that.
And make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit those notifications, listen to the podcast, follow us on social media. This is Doing It at Home. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Bye.
Peace.